Page 76, Exercise B and Exercise C. A conversation about selecting a college.
Hi, Serena. How's it going?
Oh, hi, Liam. Everything's fine with me. What's new with you?
Not much. Well, actually, I'm trying to decide where to go to college.
Which colleges are top on your list?
Just 3 right now. New York University, the University of Southern Maine, and Mount Royal University.
What was the last one? Mount Royal? Where is it?
It's in Calgary, in Canada.
Huh. Don't be offended, but that seems like a pretty random selection of schools. I mean, I can understand NYU. I'd love to go to college in New York. But why Maine or Calgary?
Because I'd like to get a degree in ecotourism, and there aren't that many colleges that offer it.
Ecotourism? You're going to have to tell me what that is.
My parents said the same thing. Basically, ecotourism tries to make sure travelers have a great experience, but in a way that can preserve nature and benefit local people. It's about finding a balance between tourism and the environment.
So it's like tourists get to visit natural areas without having a negative impact on them? That's pretty cool.
I know, right? I've always loved traveling, so getting a job related to travel is kind of a dream of mine. And I've heard that ecotourism is a real growth area in the tourism industry right now, so I'm hoping it'll be easy to find a job after I graduate. And there are so many news stories these days about how humans have damaged the environment, so it seems like the right thing is to try and protect it, you know?
Right. But isn't air travel bad? Traveling by airplane is one of the worst things you can do for the environment.
You're absolutely right, Serena. So, the idea behind ecotourism is to find a compromise. If people are going to travel somewhere, ecotourism says, let's make sure they travel in a way that causes as little damage as possible. Let's make sure they act in a responsible way when they arrive. Let's make sure they know the harm that humans can do to the landscape.
That sounds good in theory, but how does it work in practice?
Well, I was reading about ecotourism in Madagascar. Apparently, there's a national park there called Tsingy de Bamaraha or something. It's this amazing landscape, like a forest of sharp rocks, a great tourist destination. But it's hard for tourists to get there, and they're likely to damage the landscape. It's a pretty fragile place, apparently.
Okay.
So what happened was these ecotourism consultants came in. They did an analysis of the area and selected some regions that were especially good for tourists. They built facilities and infrastructure, walkways, bridges, that kind of thing, to allow tourists to visit these regions without causing erosion or damaging local wildlife. Apparently, a couple thousand local jobs were created.
You've really done your research on this, huh, Liam? But still, no offense to Southern Maine or Calgary, but New York must be at the top of your list, right?
Actually, I'm leaning towards Mount Royal University in Calgary.
How come?
Well, for one thing, Mount Royal is the only school that actually offers ecotourism as a major. The other 2 schools offer courses in ecotourism, but my major would have to be tourism and hospitality, not ecotourism. For another thing, Calgary is a great city, apparently one of the 5 most livable cities in the world. And lastly, studying in Canada would save me a lot of money. My father's Canadian, so I'm a dual US and Canadian citizen. That means my tuition fees would be lower. I worked it out, and studying in Calgary would be around 25% cheaper than going to school in New York, and about 10% cheaper than studying in Portland, Maine.
Whoa, that's a pretty big difference. I might have to look into going to school in Canada myself.